That was my mom, the woman who raised me. I didn't like the idea of my old man touching her that way. Jaclyn and I don't do things like that in front of him. The most Austin ever sees is a hug and maybe a quick kiss. Skip shook his head. It don't matter, Shaw. You're the creature mauling his angelic mama, and that's why he's pissed at you right now. Morgan rubbed the back of her neck. Did he say he was mad at me? No. He just sat and stared for a long time after we discussed women's bodies. Then he scuffed his shoes on my drawing and spit on it. Here's my advice. Don't touch Jaclyn in front of him. Sleep with your door locked and one eye open. He'll go back to that happy place of denial soon. Skip and Morgan turned when they heard a growl and watched as Betsy Schaefer kicked the post to her mailbox, then slugged at the box itself with her purse, denting the face of one of the painted-on red birds. Speaking of pissed off, have you noticed how mean she's been lately? Morgan nodded. Betsy was a sweet older lady who, until recently, doled out kind words and hugs like candy. But for the past 2 weeks, she had acted like she wanted to rip the heads off of everyone in town. I waved at her the other day and she flipped me the bird. Something's up with her, yeah. Thanks for fixing the roof, Morgan said as she turned back to him. I wish you'd let me pay you for the labor. That's what friends and neighbors do, Shaw. I'd rather be on your roof than at my in-laws. My Renee is an angel. But oh, Mama, she's Satan in spandex. I understand. My mother-in-law is the same way, Morgan said with a grin. I need to get back down to the store. Chet's taking his new boat out today, so he's only covering for me for a little while. I want to have a look at the ceiling in the kitchen and see if I need to put a second coat on the water stain. Holler at me if you need anything. Skip began up the ladder. Will do. Hey, Skip. He stopped and looked at her. Thanks for taking our boy under your man wing. Oh, you don't have to thank me. I love that boy like he was my own. Besides, I couldn't have him trying to mash a cleat like a button. Some girl would snap his neck. Morgan entered the cabin with a grimace. She didn't like the idea of Austin being sexually active. She mentally acknowledged the fact that he was 15, but she wanted him to be a kid for a little longer. She'd missed out on him being a little boy. Even though he looked like a young man, he'd become her baby. A wave of nostalgia swept over her as she stood in the quiet den. The cabin had belonged to her father, and while he was alive, Morgan was too busy with work to ever spend time with him there. When Robert Chassion passed away, Morgan expected him to leave the place to her brother, Brad, who had spent a fair amount of time with their father at the lakefront cabin. She was stunned when the will was read and the cabin was hers. She and Brad often talked about their father's intent. Morgan's theory was that her dad had found peace and happiness there, and knew that someday she would need it too. On the heels of her father's passing, Morgan lost her job, and her lover showed no compassion when she dumped her. She retreated to the cabin at White Oak Lake, feeling like her life was over. But when she met Jaclyn Wyatt and her son Austin, Morgan realized that life was just truly beginning. The last year and 4 months had been the happiest ever. Morgan inhaled deeply as she gazed at the old plaid couch and matching chair that faced a small fireplace. The sound of her sneakers squeaked on the clean wooden floors as she walked into the adjoining kitchen and gazed up at the ceiling. Maddie, Jaclyn's sister, had been right. The primer mixed with paint had covered the water stain with only one coat. Dad, are you listening? Morgan said softly as her gaze moved to the water of the lake shimmering beneath the sun. I found what you always wanted me to have, happiness. I have a family. Oh my God, kids are expensive. And we have only one. I hope you understand why I have to rent out the cabin. Business was slow at the stores over the winter, and I may have overspent on Jaclyn's birthday trip last summer to Fiji. I hope you weren't watching us then. The tropical atmosphere had such an effect on her, I thought about buying a palm tree for our bedroom. Morgan raised a hand. Too much information.